Okay guys, so now that we are jumping right into division, we're starting to work on it a little bit, we're going to start looking at how division can be thought of as repeated subtraction. And like I said, division is the opposite of multiplication. When you think about it that way, you're going to be able to help yourself a lot. And so if multiplication is repeated addition, remember if we had 5 times 3, that was 5 plus 5 plus 5. Okay? So multiplication was repeated addition. Well, the opposite of addition is subtraction. The opposite of multiplication is division. So division can be thought of as repeated subtraction. And though we may not necessarily be losing anything when we do this, it's still going to help us find the answer. Okay? And so basically what happens here is this. Let's take a look at this word problem. Mr. G has 12 cookies. He wanted to divide the cookies equally between his 4 children. How many cookies would each child get? Okay? Well, if I think of this as repeated subtraction, what I want to do is I want to take my big number, in this case it's 12, okay, and I'm going to start subtracting the divisor from it until I reach 0. And when I do that, however many times I subtracted will give me my answer. So for instance, if I take 12 and I subtract 4, okay, it's going to give me 8. So that's one time that I subtracted 4. So I'm going to keep subtracting 4 until I get 0. So 8 minus 4 is going to give me 4. That's the second time I subtracted 4. And then finally I'm going to take 4 and I'm going to subtract 4 and I'm going to get 0. That's the third time I subtracted 4. I repeatedly subtracted 4 until I got to 0. So therefore, 12 divided by 4 is going to give me 1, 2, 3. Okay? And my kids will get 3 cookies each. Alright? So I can repeatedly subtract my divisor from the number I'm dividing, okay? And once I reach 0, I can go back and count how many times I subtracted. 1, 2, 3, and that's going to be my answer. So if Mr. G has 12 cookies and I want to divide them equally between my 4 kids, then each of them is going to get 3 cookies. To check my answer, I can use multiplication. I should be able to take 3, multiply it by 4, and it should give me 12. And 3 times 4 does indeed equal 12, so I know that I am correct here. Let's take a look at this again in another problem. Here I have let's read this problem. Jan had 56 marbles and she wanted to give an equal number of marbles to 8 friends. How many marbles would each friend receive? Well, she wants to divide 56 between 8 friends. So if I take 56 and I start subtracting 8 from it until I finally reach 0, then I'm going to know what 56 divided by 8 is. So if I take 56 and I subtract 8, it's going to give me 48. Okay? Then I'm going to subtract 8 again a second time, and that's going to give me 40. Then I'm going to subtract 8 again, okay, a third time, and that's going to give me 32. Then I'm going to take 32, I'm going to subtract 8 again a fourth time, and that's going to give me 24. So I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to subtract 8 again. I know it's a long process, but if you don't know your multiplication facts, this could be a very useful way to help you solve. So 24 minus 8 is going to give me 16. 16 minus 8 It's going to give me 8. And then finally 8 minus 8 is going to give me 0. So how many times did I have to subtract 8 to get the 0? I had to do it 7. So 56 divided by 8 is going to give me 7. This is just the opposite of repeated addition. If you think about this as with checking my answer 7 times 8 as 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, okay? It's the same thing that I'm doing with the repeated subtraction. It's just the opposite. And division is the opposite of multiplication. So I can check my answer now. 7 times 8, well, if I did 8 plus 8, that's going to give me 16, right? So here's 16. Then I add another 8. It's going to give me 24. Notice how all my answers here are multiples of 8. And eventually I'm going to find that this is true. 7 times 8 is 56. So I know that I did this correct. 56 divided by 8 is indeed 7. Alright, well here is another one that I want you to take a look at, and I want you to start doing the same thing. Pause the video and you try it. Try repeatedly subtracting to solve this word problem. Alright, well I'm going to go ahead and show you the answer and see how you guys did. See if this is what you got. Here there are 72 spider legs in all. If spiders have 8 legs, that means each spider has 8 legs, then how many spiders are there? So I have 72 spider legs in all, and I want to figure out, well, how many spiders are there in order for me to have that many legs. And so I'm taking 72 and I divide it by 8 because each spider will have 8 legs, and that should tell me how many spiders I have. So again, if I take this and I do my repeated subtraction, okay, so if I start and I'm taking my big number, the number I'm dividing, and I subtract the divisor from it until I reach 0. So 72 minus 8, that's going to give me, that's going to give me 64. Okay, so that's one time that I subtracted 8. Now 64 minus 8 is going to give me 56. Okay, that's my second time. Minus 8 is going to give me 48. That's my third time I subtracted 8. And again, I keep repeating myself. 48 minus 8 is 40. And that was my fourth time. Then 40 minus 8 is 32. That was my fifth time that I subtracted 8. 32 minus 8 is going to give me 24. That was my sixth time. I'm going to take 24 and I subtract 8, and that's going to give me 16. That was my seventh time. So now I'm going to take 16 and subtract 8 again. That's going to give me 8. That was my eighth time. And then I subtract 8 again. That's going to finally give me 0. And that was my ninth time. Okay? So that means 9 here, the number I finished here, the ninth time I subtracted 8, that got me 0. That's what my answer would be. The quotient is 9. And again, I can check myself. 9 times 8 should give me 72 if I'm doing this correctly. And it does. 9 times 8 is 72. This is a long way of getting around it. It's a lot of work if you're not really good with your multiplication table, but it is a strategy to use if you need to use it. I encourage you to keep memorizing your multiplication facts, so that way you could look at 72 divided by 8 and just ask yourself, well, what times 8 equals 72? That's how you could find the answer much quicker than doing this whole repeated subtraction. But if you need it, it's there and you can use it. Alright, we'll practice this a little bit tomorrow.